Until human beings devised weapons for themselves, this was the most powerful killer on Earth, the top predator. Few creatures could escape it. Nothing could threaten it. But that has now changed.
Hunting animals need hunting grounds, and that inevitably brings them in conflict with humanity. Once there were tigers all over Asia, from Sumatra and Bali in the south, India in the west, up to Siberia in the north. But sadly, over much of those areas, the tiger has disappeared. And even this one is in captivity. Big cats like the same sort of meat as human beings, as well as eating human beings. So it's scarcely surprising that the two don't coexist very easily.
But once these magnificent meat-eaters were the lords of the land. The ultimate in lethal grace and beauty.
Must have been one of the worst things I've ever witnessed. You get so involved. You can imagine just spending weeks watching lionesses with little cubs like that, that you feel almost responsible for them. And when a bunch of buffalo come in and act like the heavies, first thing you feel like doing is driving in amongst them and just chasing them away. But there's no way you can do that. You can't play favorites in this kind of circumstances, and I always try and remind myself how many buffalo calves have been killed by lions. Now, one of the biggest worries I have is that, of course, the reason the buffalo were here was to drink. And in the confusion, I just wonder if some of those cubs might not even have desperately tried to cross this patch of water and could have drowned. Now, these croton thickets are the places where the lionesses and the cubs like to lie up. And, of course, the cubs are very familiar with that kind of place. They might try and come back there. Just see. Tiny cub, there's one little cub right at the edge of the water, and it's looking pretty miserable. Oh, well, that makes me feel a lot better that at least one of them has survived that situation. You know, they are so small, that's perhaps their saving grace. They can just get down in the grass or in under some tree roots. There's all kinds of places there. Well, I'm going to check further down, because this was the place where the cubs that got chased furthest, I think, came to. And those particular ones were probably the most likely to survive, because they could actually try and move out of the way. But there's two other litters with 3 smaller cubs, and those are the ones that I'm most worried about. My worst fears are confirmed. One of the little cubs hasn't made it. And the mother just doesn't seem quite sure what to do. But even her little calls, it's such an ambiguous situation, because she's calling in the way that she would in trying to reunite herself with her cubs. And at the same time, it's now become just an item of food. And that seems almost impossible to rationalize, but by eating the cub, in some ways, she's recouping her investment in conceiving it. Very few animals seem to acknowledge or appear to acknowledge the death of one of their own. And nothing that I have seen would tell me that lions do. And as for the other little cubs, it's as if the incident hadn't happened at all. They seem as if they've completely forgotten. Unbelievably, considering what we'd witnessed, 10 of the 11 cubs survived. Those that did will hopefully be a lot wiser about buffaloes in the future.
A puma, the lion of the Andes. Pumas are usually solitary and secretive. To see a group walking boldly in the open is extremely rare. It's a family, a mother with 4 cubs. She has just one brief summer in which to teach them their mountain survival techniques. Rearing 4 cubs to this age is an exceptional feat, but she does have an excellent territory rich in food and water. Although the cubs are now as large as their mother, they still rely on her for their food.
Squawking in there. They're responding to her calls. They know Mum's close at hand. This is absolutely fantastic. I have never seen cubs this small. I'm pretty sure there's 2. I mean, could be a miracle and there's 3. Occasionally a leopard does have 3 cubs, but very rarely do 3 survive. In fact, I've only heard of it on 1 occasion. I would say they're about 10 days old. One of them certainly has got its eyes open. The eyes open at any time between 3 or 4 days up to 2 weeks. And their spots, I mean, the spots are all there, but of course they're very tightly packed right now. Oh, she's coming out again. Tail. She's come out the back way. Just look at her. God, that is incredible. 3 little cubs. And to see her carrying them like that, I've never seen cubs that small being moved. She's behind what appears like an enormous axe head, like a stone axe head. And behind it is a cave. But, boy, I'm not so sure about this one. That doesn't look to me like the safest place that you'd want to keep cubs. I reckon a predator could get in there.